This man is the largest government contractor, the largest recipient of government money. He was the largest donor to Donald Trump's campaign. He is the owner of a communications platform, and he will have an office inside the White House.
In today's video, Tim Miller absolutely destroys Piers Morgan and his MAGA panel in a heated debate about Elon Musk and his power in the government. Now, you'd think we were talking about some kind of political genius or a world-saving hero the way they defend this guy. But Tim Miller, yeah, he's not having any of it. He absolutely tears apart their ridiculous defense of Musk and calls out the blind worship these right-wingers have for him. And honestly, it's refreshing to see someone actually push back to this nonsense instead of just letting them ramble unchecked. So let's dive in and watch how Tim Miller shuts down Piers Morgan and his MAGA panel in this heated debate.
I mean, there was mass outrage on the right about the fact that some people in the Biden administration were emailing Facebook and Twitter people recommending the content be taken down. I don't think that was very smart. I think that was bad policy by the Biden administration. But it was kind of mid-level bureaucratic stuff. I don't think it was really limiting people's free speech all that much. Now, I don't understand how you could be upset about that, but then be okay about the owner of a communications platform having an office in the White House, having a security clearance, and being able to put the thumb on the scale of his algorithm to promote what is happening out of this administration. I mean, we can all agree, if you just go on the Twitter or the X For You page, it's like Elon Musk propaganda central. So now we have an officer of the American government controlling a communications platform. I would think that people who are concerned about speech and free and open dialogue in this country would be astonished by that. In addition to the potential corruption, if you're an Elon competitor, what must you be thinking right now if you're a competitor of SpaceX or competitor of Tesla, which receive billions of dollars for the government, and the owner of that company is now going to have control over a government efficiency program where he gets to choose where money goes? The corruption here is astonishing. It'd be like if George Soros had an office off of the West Wing when Joe Biden was president. It's insane. So if I was the Democrats, I'd be focused on that level of corruption and not his awkward hand gesture.
Well, it's very interesting what you've just said. And I'll bring Dave Smith in because I've got to say, it's good to hear someone on the left admit that this Nazi stuff is bullshit. I just think it is, and it's just stupid. And also, I just feel I'm not Jewish, but if I was, I would be so endlessly offended, deeply, mortally offended, that people keep trying to draw an equivalence between Donald Trump and the Republicans and the Nazis. I just think it's ridiculous. Anyway, first, your thoughts on that. But secondly, interesting point I thought there from Tim, which is, yeah, you can. I didn't actually agree with your first part, Tim, about Facebook and stuff. I think they did have a pretty insidious impact on things like suppressing the Hunter Biden laptop story, the New York Post getting locked out of social media for the last 2 weeks of that last election, and so on. I think that was very wrong. However, I do think you make a very interesting comparative point. And Dave, I'm interested what your take is on this. First, Nazigate, but secondly, the point Tim makes about Elon Musk getting an office in the West Wing and comparing that to the influence perhaps that Facebook had last time round.
Pause. If you're enjoying this video so far, please consider hitting that like button and subscribe. It helps out the channel a lot. Now, Tim is absolutely right. Musk isn't just some billionaire tech guy. He's the largest government contractor, the biggest donor to Trump's campaign, and the owner of a major social media platform. And now he gets an actual office inside the White House. That's some next level corruption. The same people who screamed about deep state interference and Biden officials emailing Twitter about misinformation are now completely fine with Musk literally sitting in the government while controlling a platform that shapes public opinion. Honestly, the hypocrisy is unreal. It's like if George Soros had an office in the White House under Biden. The right would lose their minds. And let's not even start on how Musk already manipulates Twitter to boost right-wing narratives. Now, with a security clearance and a direct line to the president, he can weaponize his platform to amplify Trump's message even more. This isn't just about one guy, it's about a dangerous mix of unchecked power, government favoritism, and media control.
Yeah. Okay. So, well, there's some that I agree with, a lot I don't. So I would be in agreement that I think even if you want to make the argument somehow that like Elon Musk this was a dog whistle, he's a secret Nazi and he chose this as his moment to like subliminally come out as a Nazi and that was the message somehow. The fact is, Piers, as you addressed at the top of the show, the Democrats have just gone to this well far too many times and nobody's listening anymore. So even if this was the real case, which I don't think it is, I think he's just a somewhat awkward kind of herky-jerky guy in these moments. But even if this was the case, I'm sorry, you just billed Donald Trump's rally as a Nazi rally because it was in Madison Square Garden. Yeah. And that was the only connection that you had. So it's just boy who cried wolf. And I will say, you know, I am Jewish. I don't think it matters that I'm Jewish and you're not. I think we can all have an opinion on this. But I think that the constant comparisons to Hitler and the constant invoking of the Nazis is just stupid. And I'll put the blame initially, I really think it's the neoconservatives who first really put this into the popular lexicon where every single enemy that they wanted a regime change against was always the next Hitler. Saddam Hussein's the next Hitler, Bashar al-Assad, Muammar Gaddafi, whoever it is, they're the next Hitler. And it's always just so ridiculous. And I've heard from a lot of the hardcore Israel supporters that Hamas are Nazis. The comparisons are ridiculous. And we don't need to pretend that this. I'm sorry, I'm not hearing you if you're trying to interrupt me, but let me just finish my point. That I think that the Nazis were a unique evil, and to call everybody Nazis just it does just make the term lose value. Now, I would say that to downplay the amount of censorship that we saw under the Biden regime and even before Joe Biden came in, I think is just not fair. I mean, listen, as somebody who was adamantly opposed to lockdowns and vaccine mandates during COVID, the censorship was very widespread, and many people had their lives and livelihoods ruined simply for speaking up about government policies that, by the way, they turned out to be right about. And all the people saying follow the science turned out to be wrong about quite a bit of the science. I would also say that it's interesting to me that Democrats always seem to get concerned with the concentration of power as soon as they're out of power. And it's kind of wild to see that the party of George Soros and banker bailouts and all types of just corrupt concentrated power now have an issue with this. I think there's always a concern. This is the way the American political system is set up. And yes, there is a concern with powerful private interests wielding government influence. But I also would not equate the government getting in the business of censoring the American people with someone like Elon Musk, who at least his promise with Twitter has been that it's going to be a free speech platform. And I think he's moved more in that direction. And so they're not the same thing at all. Like, I don't have the same problem with a tech executive being in the White House who's going to protect free speech than I do with the government instructing tech executives to censor speech.
Okay, Tim, you were trying to speak there. I'm not quite sure what happened because we couldn't hear you. So let's bring you in to respond just quickly before I go to Ali.
Yeah, just very quick. Just two quick things. One, Bashar al-Assad and Hamas are Hitler-esque, I would say, certainly more than Elon Musk. I was just trying to object to Dave's point that it was like the neoconservatives comparing Bashar al-Assad and Hamas to Hitler. I mean, there were some comparisons there, so I was just going to say that. But look, just to the last point,
we'd all be speaking Arabic.
This is how the American system works.
Arabic if we hadn't overthrown Bashar al-Assad.
Okay, well, we weren't all speaking German either. But the thing about Musk, this idea that this is how the American system works. That is wild. Please show me an example of this. The largest donor is the largest government contractor is now in the West Wing. That is insane. That is not how the American system works. And I guess if you go back to the Gilded Age of Rockefellers, but like the idea that one of the richest men in the world who also gets money from the government is now going to be deciding how the government spends money, that is not how that is not how the American system works. It is and obviously they've only been in 2 days, so we'll see. But the potential for corruption and influence there is unprecedented in post-war American history. And then on top of that, to say that he has a platform, and maybe you're saying it's free speech because he's not banning people, though I think he was taking away some people's blue checks. But his platform has an algorithm where he promotes certain things. So if you're on the For You page, you get promoted pro-Musk, pro-Trump stuff. So somebody having that kind of concentrated power in the government, please show me an example of anything even remotely close to this.
I gotta say, Tim brings up a huge point. How does this affect Musk's competitors? If you're a company competing with Tesla or SpaceX, what chance do you even have when the owner of your competition is literally in the White House, influencing policy and contracts? This isn't just a conflict of interest, it's a level of government favoritism we've never seen before in modern history. And let's not forget Musk's control over Twitter. His algorithm already boosts right-wing and pro-Trump content, and now he has direct access to government decision-making. Imagine the meltdown if Mark Zuckerberg or Jeff Bezos were given this kind of power under Biden. It would be a 24/7 outrage on Fox News. But because it's Elon Musk and Trump, suddenly it's all good. David Smith tries to deflect, talking about Democrats and censorship. But Tim calls him out. This isn't about free speech. It's about a billionaire using his wealth and influence to take control of the government in a way that makes old school political corruption look like child's play. But this is it for today's video. I hope you have enjoyed. If you did, make sure to subscribe, hit that like button, and share your thoughts in the comment section down below.